So welcome everyone to the ESL Pro Series Summer Cups. The quest to find Germany's best gamer. King Sejong Station is going to be starting us off of the first series of the summer tournament, and spawning down in the lower right hand position, we've got the Red Terran player representing Mouse Sports, none other than HerMarine. And his opponent, up to the top left, representing Alien Invasion, we have CPU. So, CPU is going to be going pretty soon. It should be a lot of fun to see what he's going to be going out for. Notice someone has just said to me, fix the sound levels. I'm not quite sure what's up with it, but hopefully one of you will tell me exactly what's going on there. But anyway, as it stands, this is seems to be quite a nice, normal early game. But that can change very quickly, of course. Barracks coming down from HerMarine. Wait to see whether he gets a Reaper out, where those gases come. But over on CPU's side, we have got just a gateway expand coming through. So this is all normal stuff coming down for these two players. Hopefully, we're going to get a relatively good first game, because of course, this is game one of all of the summer ESL Pro Series. First game I've cast, first game that's been played, and that means that it's actually really exciting. It gives us a little benchmark for the caliber of the players competing, and it's actually a pretty damn high standard, so gonna be a lot of fun seeing exactly what they get down. Meanwhile, come and check up here, we've got just some normal stuff coming out from CPU. He's got both gases, but note he's only got 2 probes in one probe in the other. And with the Cybercore coming down, 4 probes, not going to get any super quick tech out of him. If we'd seen, say, maybe 6 probes in gas, maybe have expected some kind of quick Stargate or something looking for some harassment. Meanwhile, HerMarine, he's playing things ultra safe as well, but not trying to get out and put on any pressure. No gases there, and as a result, we're not going to be seeing, obviously, any Reapers. Instead, should just be a very, very quick command center. Probably the quickest you can get without just going CC first. It actually is the quickest you can get without going CC first. Being a bit safe, being a little bit careful, doesn't want to go for anything too crazy. So checking at the moment what we get down here from CPU. I'm just keeping an eye on his base, but with an Nexus on its way, neither of these two are going to be doing anything too risky. Focusing for a bit more of the long term, focusing on basically their economic footing, seeing if they can get some good game one, mid-game playdown, and this is quite common for TvP. Probably the next big thing, if things follow the normal pattern of this matchup, will be HerMarine getting a bit aggressive, usually with a handful of Marines, maybe a Marauder or 2, and just baiting out a Photon overcharge. But remember, that's a pretty big move forward. That's obviously thinking about the next couple of minutes down the line, and with a Stargate now getting started out by CPU, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how HerMarine is going to be able to defend this. He should actually be quite good, and note he is checking around the edge of his base, which is always a smart move on King Sejong Station, because there's just so many places you can hide proxy Stargates, proxy Twilight Councils, even just proxy pylons. So, waiting to see what else we've got coming up from these guys in the moment. We do just have HerMarine running back on up with his Marines. Going to be checking to see if anything unusual is happening for him at the moment. Tech Lab comes down, so he's going to be able to start up the stem, get some Marauders produced, but the important thing is that he is pumping out a fair few Marines. Already 8 on the field. Well over the 6 needed in order to deal with this Oracle that CPU is producing, but that's only if CPU actually goes in and engages it head on. Hopefully he's going to be paying attention and try and dodge things relatively quickly. Now, concussive shells being researched here by HerMarine. This is going to put him in a really good position if some stalkers were moving in, or there was any kind of gateway pushing. He could try and catch them out, pick them off nice and easy, so that could work really nicely for him. But since the Oracle is coming in, concussive shell not going to be any benefit in order to deal with that, but the Marine count up at 10 already should be more than adequate to stop this. One scouting SCV was taken out, and I don't believe it did see the Oracle before that came, but regardless, HerMarine has his engineering bay coming down. He's got Marines situated, note 6 of them ready to deal with an Oracle in the main. At the natural base, he's also got 6 Marines there. So he's completely safe from any Oracle harassment, unless it's controlled exquisitely by CPU. So CPU trying to find any Any units just sitting on their lonesome, but instead encounters a handful of Marines, enough to knock out all the shields on that Oracle. The 2 Marauders put in the bunker at the front, just acting as the first sentries up against any gateway movements that could be coming down from CPU. But all in all, this is looking to be a very normal early game. This Oracle did survive, so while it only got 1 SCV kill, it can come back another day if it wants to try and get some more damage done. So while it hasn't been cost effective immediately, it's still on the cards that it could be. +1 armor on its way out here for CPU, and that suggests that he's going to be going quite zealot heavy in his composition. He wants to be able to tank up those Marine shots quite well. And this is interesting because he is nonetheless going for the Colossus tech. Quite often you'll see Protoss players go for the attack upgrade with the Colossus due to the splash damage they deal, as opposed to the +1 armor, which usually will be more suited to a Zealot Archon or a High Templar rush strategy. This Oracle taking a lot of damage, just manages to sneak out there. 5 HP remaining, but 2 kills, trying to just find a way to make himself worth the while. He wants to be able to tell his boss back at home that all that wage he paid him up front to do this job, it was worth it, but hasn't been able to write that postcard yet. Meanwhile, CPU is adding in a good few more gateways. He's only on 1 at the moment, so while he is adding in 5 more gates, taking him to 6 at total, it's not a crazy amount. But due to this tech, HerMarine has got a much bigger army. 32 army supply to 19, and that means Photon Overcharge and Time Warps are going to be essential. There's no medevac support for this army yet, but it's a lot larger than the general Photon Overcharge poke you'd usually see, and it's hitting a couple of minutes later. In come these units. Photon Overcharge is going to get triggered in a single force field, trying to trap these units back. HerMarine, he's going for it though. He wants to try and get this damage. Moves in, a lot more force fields come through, but there's a small gap. Time Warp goes down as well. A few more gateway units getting warped through, but the Nexus being prioritized. HerMarine getting some really good damage down here. If he snipes the Nexus, it would be huge, but it just survives. 31 HP there. Hardly anything between that and death, and if the natural had fallen, it would have been a devastating loss. HerMarine though, by focusing that Nexus, only picked off a single probe this entire game. The damage he dealt in exchange for all of those units was minimal. He was able to take out 3 sentries and 2 stalkers in exchange for 19 Marines and 4 Marauders. Not a cost-effective trade in the slightest, but it would have been a game-winning trade if he could have taken down the Nexus. The Colossus is now in position, but only the 1. Group of infantry gonna look to move up to try and get that final snipe, but upon seeing the thermal lances frying them, backs on out, and that's a wise move. There's no medevac support. The first 2 just coming across the map now. HerMarine knows that he's in a bit of a sketchy spot, but with a double drop, he may be able to draw this Protoss army back into the main, may even just move in and try and take down the natural. But with these 3 photon cannons guarding this dead space from those medevacs, I think it'll be quite difficult for HerMarine to go in from that angle, but from over here, he could certainly get the drop out. CPU is attempting to take his 3rd base while all of this is going on, and this is really what he's got to do. He's got to make sure that his tech is still going nicely, his economy's going nicely. HerMarine, on the other hand, still only on those 2 bases worth of production. No sign of a 3rd CC out of him yet. Instead, just pumping out a lot of units, adding in the Widow Mines. What I really love seeing is that HerMarine actually repairing up these 2 medevacs. They took some damage when they initially moved forward, but realizes they're a vital part of his army composition, and as such, he can't afford to lose those if they start getting a bit weaker. CPU moving across the map, and this is applying some pressure to HerMarine. He does have a Widow Mine in position that gets a nice shot off, kills the Stalker and damages the shield on all of the rest. But while that did some nice stuff, obviously this isn't a killing blow attempt from CPU. He's got a 3rd coming down behind us, so he just wants to keep trading. He knows HerMarine invested a lot in his poke earlier and doesn't have a 3rd base yet. So a couple of shots going through now. The 2 Vikings not going to be able to dispatch a Colossus particularly quickly, meaning that a lot of splash damage comes through. CPU with the 2 really nice force fields does create an incredibly tight choke for Terran infantry to try and sneak on by, preventing any kind of concave. This is a really nice attack position for CPU, thanks to those Colossi just dishing out a lot of damage. Resources lost, we can see that there's actually a good amount going down for HerMarine. He's lost about 1,000 more resources than that of CPU, and CPU is up by 10 workers. So that is a very, very good position for CPU to be in, but with the mules, it does mean it's a little more level than you may think, and of course, HerMarine does now have that third CC moving across to take a third base. In now comes the infantry, yet again, going to be trying to find a way to just poke and whittle down this army, but it's mainly a distraction while the double drop comes into the main base. It's actually a triple drop here, and the robotics facility being focused, it will fall. That means no additional Colossus production. Down to the natural base, the main Terran infantry moves in, but with the Colossi still there, it's gonna be scared away. This double drop, triple drop, gonna go down. One of the medevacs already lost, the other one just sneaking out with 10 HP, and this really is a game of very, very close engages. The Colossi don't have much support, and that means one of them falls instantly. A group of infantry coming out of those medevacs behind, gonna be able to pick off a second and third, leaving only the single Colossus. That's about to fall as well. CPU losing all 4 of his Colossi through that beautiful move by HerMarine, puts him in a bit of a tough spot. Widowmine hit, goes down, kills one Stalker, but more importantly, the medevacs have been really whittled away. Only one remains on the field, and because of the Colossus tech, Viking production has to continue. But remember, HerMarine, before this, with the triple drop into the main, was able to snipe off the robotics facility. He's prevented production, killed all of the current Colossi, and due to this, he's actually not really using these Vikings for anything. Now the mothership core has died as well. The infantry is going to be trying to find a nice way through, and remember, Stim Marine Marauder up against gateway units is insanely strong. Engagement coming through now. Nice concave for HerMarine. He's getting a much better attack arc at the moment, but the blink micro from CPU is intense. He knows he's got a hold here. The Stalkers all incredibly damaged though. Blink on cooldown. The Marauders tearing them apart. Throw pool on its way. And this is going to be a very close fight. Additional warping should just turn it in favor of CPU, but he had to pull probes. Lost 11 more through that engagement, and it was a very, very close hold. The Widowmines, they're cleaning up actually really nicely. There is a whole bunch of them through here, and they're edging forward, making it very hard for these gateway units to move forward. The mines now positioned beautifully, just kind of bait back these gateway units. The big hits coming through. A lot of units taken out there, and that means this small group of infantry doing a lot. Nice hit means that the Dark Templar actually dies as the Zealot baits the Widowmine hit from there. And now the third Nexus is taking quite a beating. Charge is about to kick in for CPU, but HerMarine, he is just going for that never-ending siege. He's got more infantry on its way forward. The Zealots, now with charge, are able to close up the distance a bit better, but this third Nexus is taking quite the beating. Only a couple of gateway units remain, but with those Widowmine hits, it's gonna be GG. HerMarine takes game number 1 of this best of 3.